Hello, I'm going to be reviewing a playlist by Emilio. That's someone who they're a, they're a Garfield fan. They're like someone who frequently appears on my channel supporting Garfield and just making comments about Garfield. Now, before I get into that, I just want to acknowledge my hair looks like crap today. I didn't style it. This is how it naturally looks if I don't spray it. Um, so yeah, it's also been under a hat, like, because today's my day off, but I had to work yesterday, so, my plan for tonight is probably to dye my hair, and that's why I haven't styled it today, because it's good to have hair that doesn't have hairspray or hair gel in it when it comes time to dye your hair. It's just more effective if it doesn't have those products already in it. So, long story short, yeah, that's why my hair looks like crap. It's for a specific practical reason. But anyway, on to the playlist. So Emilio has assembled this playlist. It's called Garfield Number One Best Cat in the World, and it's all like Garfield themed music. So the reason why they made this is because I had a cat and dog themed playlist called Raining Cats and Dogs, which I promoted on my channel, of course. It's my most recent video. So, you know, uh, they said, that they were heartbroken that I didn't include any Garfield themed stuff. So I was like, well, you can make that, and then I'll review it on my channel if you like. So that's what I'm doing now. Now, Emilio, I want you to understand that just because I said I would promote and review your playlist does not mean I will not be honest. And now, that doesn't mean I hate Garfield. I think Garfield is cool. I am coming around on Garfield stuff. But it's not that I'm going to love all of these 100%. I will say, though, this is a good playlist. I'm gonna go ahead and let you know. I think this is, for me, a 7 out of 10 playlist. And that's not bad, But it's not the. Yeah, it's just well, you'll see. Okay, so the first song is called "Here Comes Garfield," and it's from one of the Garfield shows. I suppose it's or maybe it's from some kind of Garfield themed record. I'm not really sure, but anyway, "Here Comes Garfield." I think that was a good song. It's it's like an old timey style song. It's enjoyable. I guess, is it like big band music? Is that how you describe it? I guess I think that's how it is, but maybe I'm like describing it inaccurately. I don't really know. But it's like old-timey style, It's kind of jazzy. And I enjoy it. It's good. The second one is the classic theme song, Garfield and Friends, the Garfield and Friends song. I know this one because I've actually watched Garfield and Friends in the past. Um, and it actually did correlate with, like, me starting to like lasagna, which is funny, because it was always, like, featured prominently on the show, and for a long time I didn't like lasagna as a kid, but then later on I liked it again. And me and my dad would buy, like, these frozen dinner lasagnas that were actually really good. I'm not anti-TV dinner, I enjoy a TV dinner. I mean, don't get me wrong, fresh lasagna is the bomb. It is the bomb, and it is better than a TV dinner lasagna. But those little TV dinner lasagnas were also scrummy. Downright scrummy, I must say. So, yeah, so, anyway, but about the song, yeah, I have nostalgic memories attached to this, theme song from Garfield and Friends. I think it's funny, I think the visuals are funny, and the song is good. It's pretty fun. John, Take Me With You is the next song on this playlist, and I have seen this one already. It's a little cute animation. The song itself isn't, Garfield related, but it's like the video shows Garfield like longing for quality time with John, which I think is really heartwarming because, in the show Garfield puts up a sort of he puts out a personality that's kind of cold and indifferent to others, a little bit selfish, but it's kind of sweet and humanizing, ironically, because he's a cat, to, like, think of him as someone who actually loves John and wants to be John's friend, and, he gets, like, lonely when John goes out on all these dates and stuff because, Garfield just wants to be loved by his owner, and that's very beautiful, but I don't know if it's necessarily in character. It's just nice to imagine. Next we have Garfield, Baha Men, Who Let the Dogs Out. So, like, I don't actually like Who Let the Dogs Out. Unfortunately, I don't really like that song. That's why I didn't include it on my Dogs and Cats playlist. So I honestly didn't really love this one. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not gonna be 100% positive for every single song on here. I know that it's kind of like cliche to not really like the song Who Let the Dogs Out. I loved it as a kid because it was loud and, kind of annoying. Other people were annoyed by it. And so, of course, I loved it because I sort of like to be the devil's advocate as a kid. Not in like the sinister way that we associate it with now, because a lot of people who play devil's advocate do so in like a political context, and you can see where that can go. you know you can see where that can go. What is the devil in a political context? Well, we're gonna leave it unsaid. But anyway, um yeah, when I was a kid I liked to be a little bit antagonistic, so I enjoyed the song Who Let the Dogs Out. But nowadays, I don't know. I like the I watched this video by Todd in the Shadows where he reviews Who Let the Dogs Out in his series called One Hit Wonderland, I believe. And like it's a good video. So it's in other words like I might know more about that song than the average person just from, watching that music review, but it's not really enough that I like the song itself, to be honest. Anyway, so, and the music video for that one in this context is like, a video of Garfield dancing around, and there's also Odie. It's from one of those CGI Garfield movies, which I never watched as a kid. I always avoided that. I didn't really think they appealed to me. But if there's one thing I could like praise about what I'm seeing in the animation is that it kind of reminds me of the Speed Racer movie. So if you've seen one of those old animes, this one called Speed Racers from the 60s, and it's an old anime, and then they made a movie out of it in the in the aughts, in the 2000s. And it has CGI in it that's very colorful and very unusual. I love that movie, but I don't think that's enough to make me enjoy the Garfield movie or any of the Garfield movies that have CGI in them, because I tend to just be drawn away and sort of repelled by computer generated imagery, or whatever the hell CGI stands for. The animation style that is, it looks crappy to me. But there are exceptions, like that Speed Racer movie. I think the animation in that one looks beautiful and trippy and like funny, and it's great. And yes, of course, it goes well with drugs. I don't think I've ever gotten high and watched Speed Racer, but now I'm considering it. But, safely, obviously. Like, sincerely, be safe with anything that you ingest for recreational reasons. I sincerely think that that is crucial. So, you know, please exercise moderation, common sense, and learn from any trials and errors that you do find yourself engaging in. But this is not what the video's about. I just think, you know, consider your experimentation to literally be experimental. If you find that something doesn't work for you, don't mess with it. If you find that a certain dosage doesn't work for you, don't mess with it. If you find, yeah. Okay. Anyway, back to the playlist. Sorry for that little tangent. Next, we have a video called Garfield Music Video. Um, Emilio, I'm kind of sorry that this video turned into a little conversation about drugs for a moment, but I had to be real with my audience because, people's actual lives could be affected by the offhanded remarks I make about, what movies would be good to get high while watching. You know, I just think it's responsible of me. So, anyway, actually, for real, back to the topic at hand. Garfield music video. So, the funny thing about this one is that it shows a lot of clips from that same movie, as well as, screenshots and things of Garfield. Speaking of drugs, there was even one part that kind of looked like an acid sheet. Like, those sheets of acid where it's got little cartoon characters on them? And this one had Garfield and Odie on it, I believe. Now, I don't actually know if that's what it was, but that's kind of just what it reminded me of. And I was like, is that what it is? Is that what I'm seeing? Or is this just like a series of repeated images, kind of like an Andy Warhol piece of art, one of those Andy Warhol pop art things. So I don't know what I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I think you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, the music video itself is accompanied by the song TikTok by Kesha. Big fan of that song, big fan of Kesha. That being said, I do enjoy the regular music video better than this Garfield music video. Like, I just enjoy the Kesha music video with TikTok the song, better than, this Garfield music video with the song TikTok by Kesha. It's just, I don't know. So I guess on one hand, I'm very glad that that song that I like has been included in this playlist, but on the other hand, I enjoy the original music video better than this one, so, it improves the playlist, but it doesn't necessarily improve the Kesha TikTok experience, And it's not TikTok like, the app TikTok, although it is spelled the same way. Um, anyway, next we have Garfield Dance. Now, this one has the Numa Numa song in it. Numa Numa is officially, like, Dragon Tea, uh, let's see here. I don't want to mess up my recording, but it's Dragon Tea something. It's in a different language. Um, I'm very sorry, but it's mostly known as the Numa Numa song. I would like click on this tab where I can just see what the official name of the song is, but if I do that, it might accidentally end my video that I'm recording right now, so I don't want to risk that because, like, there's these little technical issues like that. So, the Numa Numa song. It's a meme. It's very famous. But anyway, it's the video in this playlist is called Garfield Dance, and it has just videos of Garfield, a video of Garfield dancing and stuff. There's kind of a lot of videos like that on this playlist where it's like a fan-made music video with clips of Garfield dancing to random little trendy songs or meme songs, basically. Next, we have Lasagna Cat Official Worldwide Teaser 2. This is from 2017, I suppose. Now, Lasagna Cat is very interesting. I'm not really going to spoil anything about Lasagna Cat, but it's not an official Garfield creation. It is a fan-made Garfield creation that's very interesting. It's like a series, basically. I mean, it's also a YouTube channel called Lasagna Cat, so check it out on YouTube. Very interesting. But the teaser trailer thing, is interesting. It's got like a trap song in it called Garfield. I've never heard that song before, but the teaser video is only 24 seconds long and it has the two characters Garfield and Odie, people in costumes as Garfield and Odie, so that's very interesting. Lasagna Cat is cool. I think you should check it out, but I'm not going to spoil anything about that. I'm just glad that it was included because that's a very welcome inclusion. Next we have Here Comes Garfield Reprise, I believe is how you pronounce that word. So anyway, very funny video there. Well, it's enjoyable because it's a reprise of the Here Comes Garfield at the start, and I just think that that works very well in terms of like a nice book end. Like, it's perfect how it starts with Here Comes Garfield and then it ends with the reprise. There's something very satisfying about that. I think it was very good that the playlist was structured in this way. It kind of reminds me of the way I would structure a playlist because I tend to go about it with a lot of intention. This whole playlist, Garfield number one best cat in the world, is 8 videos long, and they're all under 4 minutes. Some of them are under 1 minute. So it's a very easily digestible little playlist. Pretty good. It seems downright kid friendly, to be honest. I mean, actually no, because the Lasagna Cat thing. I'm not gonna say anything that spoils it, but technically Lasagna Cat itself is not kid friendly. So in other words, don't actually show this to your kids because, it could lead them to watching Lasagna Cat, and that's not for kids. So, there's another little warning there. I always these days I try to be responsible in my videos. I try to be more intentional. So, yeah. But, this playlist is almost kid friendly, I would say, because it's all about Garfield. So, makes sense. It's cute. I think it's a cute playlist. 7 out of 10, like I said. I'd rank it higher if I was a bigger Garfield fan, but as of now, I'm like, I guess, a very casual fan, you know? I watched Garfield and Friends as a kid, but mostly just the Garfield parts. I didn't really watch the parts with the farm animals. Um, but yeah, not bad. Good job, Emilio. I hope that my playlist review was fair and accurate. I thought I enjoyed checking it out. I'm glad to like see things that other people create. You know, and I wanted to be true to my word because I told you I would review this on my next day off, and lo and behold, that's what today is. Yay! All right. So, have yourself a nice little day or night, Emilio. Take care, and continue your Garfield themed existence because I think it's quite charming that you love Garfield so much. Goodbye.